Tyler from 3D Printing Ally, and their Twitter handle is @3D Printing Ally, so feel free to tweet as he presents.
Tweet away, yes, please. Let me get this going. Okay, I am Tyler Pope, co-owner of 3D Printing Ally. Our tagline is, we're not just another service bureau, we're committed to partnering with our customers to find the best design, process, material to fit their needs. We've invested a lot of money into a lot of different technologies and materials, so we can be a lot of different things to a lot of different people, not just a kind of a one-trick pony, if you will. Our team consists of myself, my partner Doug Nepper, my other partner Darren Heffley. We also have some other investors behind us, and then our operations manager Aaron, who's back at the shop right now making parts, and Nikki is our office manager and just keeps things flowing. Our ownership group is comprised of high-level corporate executives, engineers, and small business owners. And when I say executives, these are some gentlemen that worked at General Mills for a long time, handled lots of money, and they like starting businesses, and they are behind us 100%. And it's really been nice to have that kind of support. So. So just real quick, the definition of 3D printing. So basically anything you can lay down layer by layer can be 3D printed, whether it's paper, plastic, metal, concrete, tissue, whatever it may be. There's a lot of really smart people out there figuring out new ways to 3D print every day. We're using some of the, let's call it older technology, more established technologies and materials to build our business, but we hope one day to start diving into different types of 3D printings and maybe develop some of our own one day. 3D printing is also referred to as direct digital manufacturing. Rapid prototyping was the very first technology it was called, it was named, but additive manufacturing, that's one you really need to pay attention to because that's what it describes it the best. Our name's 3D Printing Ally because that's what everybody knows, but additive manufacturing versus subtractive manufacturing, if you just keep that in mind, that gives you a better idea of what the technology actually is, and that's the way it'll be used in different specs in the future. So what we offer, we are like a machine shop with 3D printers. So just like a machine shop, you would send them a print, a drawing, a CAD file, and say, please make this out of X material, and I need it on this date. So we have 5 different 3D printing technologies in-house and 8 different materials to choose from, so we can usually find the right technology and the material for that particular need. We have a very fast turnaround time, and we have a great engineering support team, myself and Aaron. But we actually support our customers with a single part problem they might have or an entire project. They bring us something that's way too big to 3D print. We figure out how to section it, how to assemble it, and how to get it to them on the time they need, timeline. Secondary value add operations, sanding, smoothing, dyeing, assembly. We're looking at maybe some painting and maybe some chrome plating, trying to figure out which secondary operations are going to bring the most value. CAD designs, both myself and Aaron can work on CAD designs. We kind of that and the 3D scanning, we pretty much dedicate that to parts that are going to become 3D printed. We don't do CAD work just as a service. Short run production, we will produce between 1 and 100 parts or however many you need very quickly, and this actually helps companies like Tesla. We did some small parts for them that they couldn't get any other way in time to keep their assembly line moving. So if you're in a bind, find a 3D printer, call us, we'll help you out, get you out of that bind. And then education on 3D printing. We found over this past year and a half that we really need to get out there and educate as many people as we can on 3D printing, get you thinking about it, and if we can just show you what's possible, now you go back to your day jobs or your ideas, your businesses, and find ways that 3D printing can help. So we have 3 types of jobs, and I bring this up because we need help with the third one. We have custom jobs, a lot of engineering time ahead of time, assembly or other operations needed at the other end, very short runs for of silicone parts. So a lot of time up front, we charge for that time, we produce a part, we do some secondary operations, so it's a kind of a big undertaking. Standard job would be a job where we basically just send in the file, we produce it, and we ship it. We do have online quoting and ordering, so that's that type of job. It's pretty much hands off and just produce, run it through. And we do have some basic secondary operations like dyeing for those types of jobs. The production jobs. So we see a need in the industry for a production house to be kind of the man behind the curtains 3D printer. There's people out there that are very good at developing websites and online marketplaces and CAD files, but we want to be the producer for them. So we want to give them a way to actually just funnel their information right into our production system and produce parts and blind ship them out to their customers as if they did it. I think that's going to be a real big part of our business in the future. And the other part of that is that cuts out a lot of time and costs on the front end. We still have to program the part, we still have to run the part, we still have to do the secondary operations, ship it. There's nothing that's going to get away from that. But if they organize their data in such a way that it funnels right into our system and flows through like any other job, then we can pass those savings along to them. And that's going to, I think that's going to deter them from maybe wanting to invest in their own equipment. So challenges, talk about education, but there's a long sales cycle when we educate somebody on 3D printing, especially somebody like a machine shop or something, to show them how tooling and fixturing can really benefit them. It takes them a while to turn that around into a product that we can actually manufacture them. We didn't really count on that in the beginning. Luckily, we've been able to survive this year. Some of the contacts we made a year ago are finally starting to pay off and pay off fairly well, but we didn't count on that long sales cycle. Out-marketing our competitors. There's some very large companies in this space, and we need to figure out how to let their customers know that we exist and that there is an option. Sorry. Time up. And then building an IT infrastructure. A lot of what I was talking about with the production, we really need to figure out on the front end, not only how do we accept that information in and get it into our production flow, what is our production flow? And keeping both those things in mind, how do we set up a system, whether it's cloud service or a server on site, how do we do that? What information do we need to gather, and how do we pull this off? And then finding rainmakers. So a rainmaker to us is somebody that's deep down inside a company like a Boston Scientific or a 3M. They have a purchase card, they have tight deadlines, they need parts fast, and they need them to be quality parts. We have some customers who just say, don't quote it, just build it, charge this credit card, and get me parts. Those are really key people to a business like ours that trust us. They know for a fact that they're going to get good parts on time, so they just send it right to us. We're their guy. So finding those people deep down inside those companies has been a challenge also, because oddly enough, they don't go out much. So it's hard to target them. And so what we need. I need help with the IT. I know just enough to be dangerous on databases and networking, and I've got a ragtag network going at work. I know it's not right. I need help getting that set up right. And then integrating some file checking software. We have a service, they're in Switzerland, that actually takes CAD files, analyzes them, gets us a lot of the information we need to quote them accurately, but I need to integrate that somehow into our workflow and not make it an online service. Contacts. Anybody you know that's currently using 3D printings, I'd love for you to let them know we exist. Once they contact us, and it's up to us to woo them and show them what we can do. But just getting a hold of those people has been a challenge. So project engineers, product engineers, anybody you know that's making a physical part or prototyping, anything at all, we'd really appreciate the contact. And then marketing suggestions. Finding B2B clients is a little more difficult than B2C. We've found it's not the same mindset. It's not the same approach. So we need a little idea for that. And then ideas for groups or organizations like 1 Million Cups that we can present to. If we go into one of these organizations and we find just 1 or 2 good contacts, then I'd say it's time well spent. And thank you very much. We're in Eden Prairie. We are very open to anybody coming out and seeing what 3D printing is and how it works.
So Tyler, tell us about your sweet spot of customers right now. What's really been really valuable, really quick, and just your sweet spot?
Well, the sweet spot for right now, I'm going to go back to that slide, is just the production. Oops, I'm posted. There we go. The standard jobs really are a sweet spot right now because it pretty much is hands-off. I still have to take the time to set the job up. We use QuickBooks. I still have to take the time to set the part up and get it into the production queue, and then production takes over from there. And pretty much I'm hands-off after that. I know it's going to get produced and shipped, but that upfront time that I spend setting up those parts is what I need help with. But that's really our sweet spot. There's not too many companies doing the full custom job, so we know that that's going to have to be an important part of our business, but we don't see as much a return on investment on those types of jobs.
Industry is a biotech, is a machine. What areas are really sweet spot in the industries themselves?
Product development, of course, it's from the beginning that's been a use for it. But machine shops, with my background as a manufacturing engineer and a machinist, I can really help machine shops and manufacturing companies streamline their process. Even though we're doing tooling, fixturing, 5 and 6S aids, stuff like that. That's really where we started this. But the nice thing about 3D printing is it isn't really industry specific. If you're producing a product in some way or fashion, 3D printing can help. Yes, sir.
What are your plans to compete with Stratasys? What's your value? What makes you different and better than Stratasys? And what's your plan for when everybody has a 3D printer in their house?
Okay. First one, I tell people the only thing you really need to beat Red Eye's pricing is a conscience. They're very overpriced, and they don't have that personal contact. If they call up, they're going to get a different person every time. So like I said, the Rainmakers, they like knowing that they're going to send me a CAD file. I'm going to give them any advice, feedback. They can work directly with me. They know they can get a hold of me at any time. That's something they don't get from the larger companies. And then as far as your second question, we have this MakerBot back here. That's what I started with, but it's very evident really early on that you need a professional grade piece of equipment if you're going to make professional grade parts. So it's like the printer sitting on your desk. You're not going to print business cards on it. You're still going to go to Kinko's. You're still going to get professional printing done. It's the same thing. If everybody has one of those, that's great. That means more people understand it, more people know about it, but those are not a highest grade machine by any means. Yes, sir.
What would it cost you to produce this?
I think that would have been, cost by about $3, $4. We have a $25 minimum on parts on smaller end parts. So if somebody would say, hey, make this, that'd be like $25 part. But there's not much material into that, and we charge by cubic inch of material. So if it's a very, it could be a large item, but let's say a skeleton type structure, it doesn't use a lot of material. The price isn't going to be too bad.
Mike, the reason I asked this is a fantastic sales tool for you.
Yes.
I think you'd have to make a decision as you're marketing if you're going to target a specific niche market or if you're going to go buckshot. I think I would go to the trade show industry. I would want to be in every trade show with something like this, or the luggage tags or something, and say, look, well, you pay the cost, we'll give you a cost, or you just pay shipping and handling, and we'll provide these to you. If you send us, then you have their logo.
Right.
Everybody's got one of these. You're like, what the hell is that? Oh, by the way, I saw this and they printed for us. This is incredibly impressive. For $3, this gets a lot of attention.
Yeah, you're right. But we've worked with some people in that industry, and they want things for pennies. The bottle openers they buy and they print, and the other
They're not giving it out.
Right.
You're making luggage tags for their luggage.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Where did you get that? Oh, 3D printing. Here's the other side.
That's a good point. Yep. Yes, sir.
I actually used to service to print a few things, and it was really cool because I could quote it online through
Right.
3D hubs and went through your Swiss partner to validate my CAD and picked it up from the office. Two things. You mentioned here the short molds from the silicone parts. As an entrepreneur, this is one of my big pet peeves in this region in particular is finding somebody that can help me go from idea to prototype to production. And I was just wondering, since you say they're molds or silicone parts, do you have that in-house or do you have partners with it? How do you go from a man with an idea and a paper napkin to I'm selling 20,000 of these?
We have a few customers that's their specialty, and I'm part of the Minnesota Inventors Network also on the board, and we have a lot of people in that group that help do exactly that. I have an idea how to make a physical part out of it. We do some of that in-house, but we have a couple of people that I would refer you to. If you had a product, an idea, if it's electronic based, I've got somebody that does that. If it's more of a, it's going to be an injection mold single part, I guess somebody does that. But yeah, we will definitely refer you because we want that business eventually. So the faster you get to a part, the faster we can see that business. For sure. Sir, go ahead.
Good morning.
Morning.
You know that you're in a really good location out Valley View?
Yes.
Your address? Have you connected up with Westwood or some of the firms that are out in that area? Super Value stores is out there? What I'm trying to say is a niche that CSZ can, at the same time, there's a lot of people who will, as it's been said, will be looking to try to get all of these things in, should we say, their home? Or should we say, it's looking for a competition-free zone? I'm thinking with regard to architecture, HGA,
Okay.
and several other firms,
So, yeah.
in many ways, at the front edge of with regard to 3D printing. And I think of Westwood, and I think of a lot of firms that are like Super Value stores, needing to accomplish something like with regard to architecture.
Sure. Yeah, architects like us because they can print something that they plan on building. They're presenting to a client kind of thing. But yeah, you're right. They can do things with it they couldn't do anywhere. Yes.
How refined do the surfaces get?
Well, it depends on the technology. SLA is our best technology for a really good finished surface. Might still have to do some sanding. FDM would be on the lower end of that, but much higher on durability. So again, because we have multiple technologies, if you came to us and said, hey, this surface needs to look really good, we'd find the right technology and the right orientation to make your part.
I'm actually thinking about the function of it, not the look of it, because you mentioned 3M. I know they've got a great machine shop in-house,
Yep.
but one of the problems they've been struggling with is they're making a generic, Advair or something inhaler, but it's a couple different pieces, and the plastic actuator that aerosol has to spray into, they have to go and have those sent out and get a whole batch back and figure out that it's messing up the spray pattern of the
Yep.
aerosol. But it's on a really fine level, so that micron level where you're like, oh, we're catching the drug on the plastic. as it
Okay.
comes out.
Yep.
So I think that they're not doing that in-house well, but I don't know if your 3D printing could do it.
So in that instance, if you're down on that micron level, they really want to test what the end material and the end process they're going to be using. Now, as far as on the front end, just functionality, let's see if this is going to work together. Yeah.
Prototypes from other, they're kind of cobbling it together.
Right.
They're trying it from other products, or buying available products. I think at that prototype level, they could probably
Right. So two things we've learned about 3M. One, they have a lot of 3D printers, and the other is nobody knows where they are. We did lunch and learn out there. We've done expos. We've done try to get into 3M. Try to do everything to get into 3M. And like I said, we know they have at least 4 or 5 3D printers out there, but only a couple of people really know. They don't share well in 3M. We found out other companies like Boston Scientific, they do share well. 3M, I've heard from multiple people. I'm sorry.
in drug delivery.
I don't know the specific departments, but yes, ma'am.
Have you thought about associations? Have you looked at the different types of associations where you could present at their monthly meetings?
So we've done SME, we've done a few other, like the Inventors Network, but yeah, we are looking for ideas on,
Bachelor's Association?
right, so SME, that's where we really tried to hit on that one. I'm sorry, marketing executives?
That's Society of Manufacturing Engineers.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, so that's where the manufacturing comes in. That's a big one. Yes, sir.
So it's AMT. I mean, AMT is a good resource.
AMT?
AMT is a great resource.
Okay.
They have a additive manufacturing center in Youngstown, Ohio.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
Yeah, those guys, but just the initiation is,
15 grand.
yeah, it's small. I mean,
Yeah.
normally it's about $700,000 to get into that. It's
Yeah.
So it's GE and
It's, yeah, exactly.
So, and all those guys that are banging hard.
Yeah.
That's an interesting facility.
It is, I bet. Yes.
How fast is the hardware technology changing, and are you able to modify or keep up with that? I'm assuming it's going to be a cost.
There's not a lot to these machines. The 2 laser-based systems, I mean, it's just a laser up top, and at the program level, all it's doing is drawing a 2D shape, filling it in and just drawing that, and then it moves and then goes down. So the machines themselves, they're good to go for a long time, because I mean, you're just breaking it down to code and then you send it to the machine. On the CAD software side of things, there's a lot of advancements coming up on that, and it's actually pretty exciting. To a certain extent, but the hardware is it's kind of like it's kind of like your car. It starts up and runs. It might not be the best thing out there, but it starts up and runs, and it's reliable.
Another question.
Sure.
You mentioned before a couple of the big players. So Protohold's obviously really big.
Yeah, they just dived into additive manufacturing by buying First Line or
Their new CEO
Fine Line.
is taking that to $1 billion. But they had a couple of good things. They did an IPO and raised $200 million.
Right.
So they have some cash. They're expanding rapidly, and they're going to $1 billion in that market because they really believe that additive is going to be a really interesting place to go. But I don't see them as a rapid prototyping company. They're an IT company.
So that's a great point as far as that what we want to do as far as making things easy for people to funnel work into our system. That's kind of the Protomold's model.
Yeah, I see them at I attend most of the medical device conventions and all over the world, and so they're always there. Mm-hmm. But the big thing is that ease of use, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, and they are an IT company. That's how they started. That's how,
one of their founders, that's their background. That was his background, yeah.
They started. So that was, everybody looks at them as a rapid prototyping in a plastic molder, and they've got, 850 Haas machines and, buildings all over the place. But it's just that transition into, I need this fast, but I don't need to spend a bunch of time on the front end. So, I mean, when you pull in, I don't know if they send them IGES files or,
They do, yeah. And then
download it. I know you go through that, send them an IGES file, and then, 8 minutes later, you've got, the quote in your hand, and, 14 minutes later, you got the parts.
Right.
So it's really not the technology. It's not it's the customer-facing technology and not the back end.
Well, their organization on the back end has to be so good to support what they're doing on the front end. So you're right, they have all these Haas machines, and they have the same machine. So every machine has the same tool, carriage, and everything else in it. But yeah, you're absolutely right. That kind of model is proven to work. So we can duplicate that, I think, fairly easily.
You mentioned you're somewhat challenged, and obviously you see that on the front end side. You get that data from the customer. I mean, are you doing anything with the digital manufacturing world? Are you going into some of that space in digital manufacturing?
What do you mean by digital manufacturing?
Well, transitional stuff. How do you get that information? The whole Internet of Things and
sure.
And stuff like MT Connect and all that information. We're able to seamlessly download like IGES files or whatever you're sending into.
Right. So right now we're limited to just STL files, but that's the goal. Right now we have the online quote system where you can upload and you can get a price and you can see your model and then you can order there. But now tying that into our system, the data that was created to generate the quote, surface area, model volume, making sure it's watertight, all that good stuff. So now we need to integrate that in and make it seamless right into our system, because right now I have to download that and then basically redo the process manually. So I need help getting that done, and then later on different file formats for sure.
I strongly suggest you get into the digital manufacturing world through AMT. There's a really strong organization.
Okay.
In fact, their annual convention, I think, is in Chicago in the next couple of weeks. That's an interesting organization. I attended their seminar in Florida last year. They run it all over the place, and I'm telling you, there's some fascinating people, a lot of really good networking events, and as well as some really interesting technologies.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely look down that.
Okay. There's another conference in Minneapolis at the convention center. It's always held around Halloween, and it's MDDI, medical device, something or other.
Yes.
Are you registered for that?
No, and the reason for that is we don't have the budget to go up against like the Stratuses and 3D Systems, and the big companies are going to be out there with their 3D printers. We'll be another booth out there with with 3D print parts on our table. So we decided we're not going to be the little fish in the big pond. We will do trade shows if it makes a lot of sense, and we're going to really introduce 3D printing to a certain industry or something like that. But we haven't seen a lot of value from trade shows, especially when we're just one of 100 3D printing companies out there.
Tyler, that's all the time we have for questions. The last one we always ask is, what can this community do for you?
Well, I mean, like everybody says, we need more sales. Refer us to anybody and everybody you know that does 3D printing. And then I'm looking for IT help. So if anybody out there knows somebody that can really help build an entire network and from front end to back end, please let me know. Thank you very much.